Good morning, everyone. Sorry to be just a smidge late, but I was playing and having fun and kind of had a little bit of a block. What do I do? What do I do? I hate those days. I had a really good idea, and then I kind of, you second guess yourself, so it just kind of is what it is. So give me just a sec to get the camera, or maybe give me just a sec to get the computer up and running and finding what I'm doing. And we will get going. There we go. Perfect. Well, that's running a little smoother. Hope your Friday is a good one and your weekend's even better. And we are going to be talking about, let's see, last week I showed you this set with the butterflies. And next week I'm going to be showing you these adorable little guys with the cloud stencil. So that'll be next week. And this week and this is just the word pack, which I've already shown a lot of you some of it. And I'll be doing more with that. This special that I'm currently showing started September 1st, yesterday. And it goes through the end of October. Wow, sorry. Let me take a breath. Okay, this special goes through the end of October. So this is the one I'm using today. I just love this. It cuts out so nicely, so quick and easy. And there's tons of, forgot to put that one in right. Tons of thin cuts with this stamp set that is just so cute. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you oxide inks and regular inks, and just kind of getting you that blending vibe going again. One thing I would say is your rag that you're using or your chamois, have one for the Distress Oxide inks and one for your regular inks, because you really don't want to cross-contaminate those, since this is more of a hybrid of a not quite a embossing ink that stays wet until you put powder on, but not exactly a dye-based ink that dries quickly. It's a much creamier ink that does stay wet a little longer. That makes for excellent blending with, I think, whatever you have to blend with. Where the regular inks, I am going to be using our new Close to My Heart brushes. This kind of makes your regular standard ink a little bit more like this. A little more user-friendly. Not that you can't do it with these or whatever sponges you have, you just have to kind of be patient. And some of us are not as patient as others. Okay, so let's get started. I thin cut the thin cut and now we're going to color it. Now this card is going to be, grab my paper, just as it is out of the catalog or out of the workshop. So that's what we're recreating. So we've got Mowed Lawn, Peacock Feathers, and Mermaid Lagoon, which is a new color. Okay, so I've got my thin cut, and I'm going to start with the Mowed Lawn. Now at this point I have plenty of room to hold on, and again I still kind of do the same thing as I do with the dye-based ink, or with the dye-based ink. With these is I start really softly, just get some ink on the paper into the fibers so that way it's easier to blend. But these are so creamy and smooth that it takes no time at all to get them blended smoothly, like I'm doing here. Now, this first row I know is going to be my saturated color of Mowed Lawn. This next row I'm doing quite a bit lighter because I'm going to be mixing the next color with it. And that's something is a little more forgiving with your oxide inks. They blend the color nicely. You will get kind of a third color by mixing the two. But they don't tend to cross-contaminate. In other words, this is not going to end up or this next one, Peacock Feathers, is not going to end up really green. It doesn't kind of transfer the ink, where the dye-based inks, you have to be just a smidge more careful because they will blend the inks a little more. So again, I'm just going to lightly apply first, get some color on there. And these ones are great because the swirly, just like this, works really good. Again, lightly, and you notice I was started to start back in the same spot, but I moved it to another spot because I know there's more ink, and I just want to lightly blend out that merge in between rather than make it strong. If you go in the same spot every time, you're obviously going to have a darker image there than you are if you start in another spot. Okay, now I'm going to get just a little bit more there. Now, because these are a little bit creamier, they tend to stay wet just a smidge more, so you can get fingerprints. So the easiest way to alleviate that is to use a little sticky note or just a little piece of paper to help you hold on for the next one. Now, I know that my Peacock Feathers is really, really creamy. My green is not as much, and actually I think I want to give that just a little bit more. Let's double check that. Yeah, a little bit more. I went up just a smidge higher with my green, so you can see how I can go back and add a little green, but it still really doesn't look blue at all. Okay? Alright, that's a little better. I like that better. Alright, on to the next one, which is on Mermaid Lagoon, which is a new one. So since I know I'm just barely hovering it over, you can still see that this is flipped up. That's how lightly I am going, because it's a darker color, and I want to just kind of get that going and get off some of the color since I put a lot on. And see how far I can go. Each color is kind of unique to itself as to how much pigment it puts down and how easy it is to blend. I mean, they all blend easily, but some of them are a little bit drier than others, so you've got to kind of just play with it. And like I say, if you start lightly, you can always add a little more, but it's much harder to take it away. Now I'm coming down to where I'm blending that two colors, and you can just keep going at this point until you get it the way you like it. As dark, because it could go much darker, but I just kind of wanted a light coloring on here. And the swirling kind of, I don't know, it just kind of helps to blend it. So there again, just give it a try. And there we are. There's how we did our three colors. Now I see a little bit right here. It's got a little bit of white showing, so I don't even have to go back to the ink to ink it up. I'm just going to blend a little bit more right in there till I get rid of that white spot. Okay, so that's how we do those. Let me just get rid of these. And these lids just sit on here, so be mindful of that. Put those away in a second. And then I like to clean off my surface before I go to the next color. There again, we don't want to contaminate one ink to the other ink. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm also going to turn over my little napkin there to make sure that I'm doing the same thing. Okay, so that's, and it actually goes this way. That's how you add those three colors, and hopefully you can see all three of those pretty colors. I'll hold it up so you can see it a little bit more. How's that? Trying to get it to where you can see it. Maybe I'll turn it this way. There we go. Come on. Waiting for the computer to catch up. So, very easily done. Now I want to show you the next grouping of colors that I came up with. So I have another one of these, and we're using shortbread this time, and these are the regular inks. And candy apple. And then finally, sapphire. I'm still going to use this because it's clean on the back, clean enough. Okay, and I am going to start with the blue. Let me just check my reference. Yes, I'm going to start with the blue. Now, this is sapphire, so it's a very, very dark blue. So I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit. And I'm going to start off of the page for this one. I am just barely going to hover it over. You can see that the paper is still floating in the air there. So just ever so slightly, and look at how much color we get with just barely hitting it to the paper. And then once my ink is kind of dissipated, so it won't get a really, blobby spot, I guess, intenser color of ink maybe. Then I'm blending out all of that ink that I have left, and you can even push on the top here, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Again, I'm just going to lightly go over. I kind of tend to brush it into the edges, just makes it a little bit darker. And you can see there's quite a bit more color here than here. I'm going to do the same thing over here, blend it into the paper. This is going to be my transition line. So again, very lightly, very lightly. And you can see that this takes a little bit more time, I guess, is all it does. Start lightly so that way it blends a little easier for you. Go up just a smidge more for that transition color, but I don't want a lot, because remember, the dye-based or the oxide inks tend to blend up better together than the regular inks. Okay, so I've just got kind of a light coating. I can always go back and add a little more of that sapphire. But now I want to go into my shortbread, which is relatively light color. And here's the tip I have for that, is I'm going to put my concentrated color that I know is going to be right in here first. Okay, so I'm kind of putting my, if you will, my pure color into here. So that way I don't mix it with the blue yet. And you can see that I'm getting quite a bit on there compared to the white that it started out as, but it is a lighter color. And this shortbread going into the red doesn't matter as much how dark I get it up here, because the red is going to definitely cover over it. It will change the color slightly, so you do want to kind of keep that in mind. Okay, now I'm going to put just a smidge more here and start coming into that blue. Okay, so I want to just mix that ever so slightly, and you can see it kind of changes a little bit of a, I don't know, kind of a slightly green color, kind of a brownish greenish color. So I don't want to get that too heavily concentrated, because it's not the prettiest color. It's not bad, but it's not the prettiest color. Alright, so now I'm going to go up just a smidge more in case I need it. And you can see that I'm having to put a lot more ink onto my brush. Now, for one thing, these are brand new brushes, so they haven't had a lot of ink in them. But you can still see that there's not really that much blue in there. I'm going to go to the dry side. You can see there's not blue coming off. Okay, now on to our red, candy apple. And that's a really dark color. So again, like the blue, the sapphire, I know I don't need much. I'm going to turn this around and kind of wipe this off from the blue. I'm going to turn that around, stick down my paper, and again, I'm going to just start lightly off the edge, just kind of hovering it barely over the paper, just to get that red going. And I can go a little darker. It adds the color quickly, but I do love these brushes for adding our ink-based colors. Now again, you would not want to use these with oxide. You don't want to wash these out and use them with oxide ink. You don't want to have any cross-contamination, like I said, of the colors. Make sure I'm still on camera. Good. And you can, again, go as dark as you want just by adding more color. I think the most important thing to remember is at the beginning, just a super, super light hand getting that color on, because it, you can't erase it. And if you start too darkly, I don't think that's a word. If you start too heavy-handed that you get a dark spot, it's much harder to blend out these ink-based or dye-based inks than it is the others. Okay, so now we're going to kind of transition into that shortbread. And this color I don't mind as much as that blue and the shortbread. The red in the shortbread kind of makes a little bit of an orangey color. So it's much more eye-pleasing to me. Now I just want to get this a little bit darker. Again, be patient, light to start with your hands, and you'll be much happier and much more successful. I'm sorry, my voice has been going down, I'm sure. I hope that you can hear me. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. And if you would like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would so appreciate it. Okay, so what do you think of those three colors? So this is usually pretty darn red. I'll show you. But you can get a nice soft blended look. I'm going to put this on this paper. So see, you could go that dark if you kept going. So that's kind of nice that you can get several colors and tones. I'm going to throw it away before I stick my fingers in it. So that's all there is to that, is just a little practice, okay? It's kind of like riding a bike. And again, I'm going to clean up my surface, get rid of these inks, and I love this all-purpose mat for this. Pick up all that color. Let's get these out of the way. And then the other thing you can do is later on I'm going to be showing you, as soon as I get it, how you can store these and make a little grid thing and a neat way of storing them like that. So if you want to store them in colors or just one color, you can do that. Okay, so here's this one we made, and here's this one we made. Now, let me wash off my fingers, and I want to show you one more thing. I want to show you how I did a second generation for my flower, because I didn't want it super dark. I've got a little piece of, let me get these out of the way. We've got a piece of cardstock, because your grid paper will give you grid lines actually when you're doing this. And I've got one cut out. Make sure I'm on camera, yes. I'm going to ink it up fully, and then I'm going to touch it to there, and then this cardstock, and then I'm going to roll it to get some definition just on the outside of it. Hopefully you can see that. Let me see. Let's do it like this. that better? Hold on, giving the camera a chance to catch up. Alright. Then I'm going to huff it, which is just putting my breath on it, since oh, that one's an icky one. Since I was sitting there staring at it. And we're going to ink it up. Straight down, straight up. That's a lot of ink to transfer, so don't just pick it up right away. And if it sticks to the block like so, yay, because then you got a little bit more time. And peel it off, and you get that little bit of a halo. Rather than, let me just use this one. It's kind of, there's a piece of tape on there. Okay. So this is what the solid, just, you know, regular one-time stamping. Sorry if my hand's in the way. Again, still a lot of ink to transfer. Push on it. And that would be your solid color that you normally, and you could use either. Okay, and then wash this off. Alright. So, what else do I like to tell you today before I showed you cards? There is a flash sale that starts, and you should have seen that. Flash sale starts today at 2 o'clock, our time, Pacific time, and they have current and retired or past items. And some of them are going to be 60% off. This is where, when I buy my white paper or cardstock or cards and envelopes, some of that, keep in mind your Christmas stuff you're going to be making. Maybe there's going to be some glitter paper you might want for that. So kind of think ahead of the cards that you're going to make before 2 o'clock hits, so you kind of have an idea. Check your cardstock, see what colors you might need, and then enjoy shopping. And as always, here's my shopping site, jackiebloom.ctmh.com. Appreciate it so much. And just one more thing to tell you about. I will be ordering today at 4 p.m. So call me, text me. I will check my emails as well. If there's something that you want to order, save you a little shipping, since the shipping did go up now. So instead of $7.95, it's $8.95. Not too bad. And let's see some cards that I did. So this is the card that's in the kit, the workshop. And I do like the black and the color. I think that's very striking. I'll hold it up for you so you can get a good look. There we go. And then one that I put together with those other colors, I just turned it the other way, and I made this one. Let me see. So it's still the same size of papers. I just changed the different papers. I added in the bling that they called for, and then I added in some itty bitty bling. But it's still just using the same colors. You can see that I've got the shortbread color spaced out around. I've got the red. I've got the blue. So that's how you make a good card components. You just spread those colors around. Alright, so there's the two cards. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to try it. Oh, here's what this would have looked like if you wanted to go full strength color, which you certainly could. But I just wanted to show you a little trick, a little something else. So thank you ever so much for joining me today or watching the replay. If you watch the replay, put replay watching or watching the replay. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend. I will see some of you on Monday for card class. Bye now.